Okay. What is it? June 30th, 2026. I was adopted at the time of my birth by Yuta and Jimenez. I was adopted. So, Alexandra, I guess, was 15 when I was born. And Jessica was 9, I believe. Oh, whoa, where am I off? No. Jessica was 6. Alexandra was 15. They're 9 years apart. That's what I meant to say. Alexandra was sent back to Germany after I was born, shortly after I was born. Because after we were in North Carolina, we went to Louisiana. And all I remember is a swamp. I remember a swamp. And then at one point I remember, and I thought it was a dream, and I remember being in a boat and seeing an alligator. That was one of my dreams. But yeah, after that, I literally have no recollection ever, even since the day of my birth, of Alexandra being in my life. She was never in my life. Over the years, you know, when my mother talked to me, when Yuta talked to me, she was telling me, you know, my daughter, da-da-da-da-da, but I didn't meet her until I was around 8 years old when we were in Germany. And we went to her house. I still didn't talk to her. I met Kearney when Kearney was a little 4, you know, and that was it. And then a couple conversations on the phone when she would call Yuta. When we moved to the United States, she would call Yuta and be like, is my mother there? And I was like, well, my mother is here. You know, like, why are you trying to compete with whose mother is whose, you know? I don't know what the truth is. All I know is the woman that I identify as my mother is Yuta Maria Seiler. I identify her as my mother. She was the one that raised me from birth. She was the one that caretaking. She was the one that took care of me. Jessica, my older sister, she took care of me too. I remember when my mother was in the hospital. My mother told me the story. Yuta told me the story. She was in the hospital with Juliana. She was giving birth. And she told me that she had called home to see how Jess, Justin, and I were doing. Because, of course, I was 4 years old, Justin was 6. And Jess was 10. She got the phone, Jessica got the phone call, and Yuta was like, well, is everything going okay? Where's your father? Oh, he's on the couch. He didn't want to feed us, so I made food. I think she made hot dogs for us because Justin and Jackie were hungry, so I made food for them. At 10 years old, my older sister took responsibility. I know the difficulties that Jess and I have. My older sister is a very difficult personality. It's her way or no way. But I love her because she is so strong. Like, I that's what I love about her. But hate about her. But I love her very much. I just wish she understood that. And I'm not going to do what she wants for my life. I hope she understands that too. But going back, my older sister was an older sister. Same with my brother. Justin was an older brother. He protected me when people in Germany would bully me. I remember there were 2 little German boys at the playground. Now remember, this is when I was like 7 years old. And they were at the playground, and they started bullying me. I didn't understand what they were saying in German. And my brother, Justin, came along and was like, hey, leave her alone. And there was 2 little white boys bullying me at the playground. And then, you know, Justin would come and, you know, take me, and we would play all the time. Justin and I were inseparable growing up. We really were. And then it just changed, you know, like just the way he treated me changed. And eventually I just pulled away because I wasn't going to be treated like that, you know. I was naive at the time, but when you want to play video games with me and then tell me that I'm trash and I'm stupid and haha, I can beat you, you're an idiot, I'm just not going to tolerate that. I love my brother too, very much. Um, he's a computer specialist. He's not an idiot. He and I used to draw, and we would compete, but we spent a lot of time together. And that brother, that memory is what I prefer to remember from Justin. Then he kind of got twisted, and I remember with Jimmy, like Jimmy and I spent a lot of time on the phone together, and Justin would be like, hey, be careful, watch out. And I was like, why are you doing this with Jimmy? Jimmy's a sweetheart. Like Jimmy and I spent a lot of time on the phone, me and Manuel too, and those were my best buds, But going back, my family unit, we were a unit growing up. So Alexandra wasn't there. I met Kearney when she was 4. And then I got to speak to her again as she got older before all of a sudden she had a child that looked just like Justin. And I never knew his name. This is before Sophie. I think this was before Sophie was born. But I don't know. I don't remember when Sophie was born, to be honest. But it is what it is, I guess. I'm gonna leave it at that.